In today's world, it is quick to spread the words we write and speak. With our right of freedom of speech, these words can have significant influence. When these false statements are intended to harm other people's reputation, that is what we call defamation. Under Philippine law, defamation includes libel and slander. But do Filipino citizens know these terms?
Okay po, paninirang puri po, ganun.
For me, parang, in short, panloloko siya ng tao. Intentionally. Hindi po.
Hindi kasi ako familiar sa libel eh.
From the perspective of practicing a journalist, I think libel for me is a malicious and negative writing or a written document or material about a person or an entity or organization.
Para sa akin, mga panirang puri, sa negosyo. Halimbawa lang ng katulad ng kadiwata, para sa mga ganun.
Libel or libeu, which is equivalent to French libelle, which is derived from the Latin word libellus, that means little book or pamphlet. The term originated in Roman law, where the libellus conventionis, a pleading used to start an action, was used. But what really is libel? Libel refers to any written false and defamatory statement that is presented as a fact and published or broadcasted to a third party, which causes harm to the reputation of an individual, business, or organization. Naka-experience po ba kayo o na-encounter niyo na po ba ang libel?
Hindi pa naman po.
Siguro, ang pinaka-latest kasi K-pop.
Hindi naman po.
Yes po. Sa kapitbahay ko. Naninira po sila.
I think, I remember a class in my master's degree about a certain publication. I could not remember the publication in the early 1900s. And there is an opinion or a column there which talks about the Secretary of the Department of Interior and Local Government at the time. And then our professor asked us if there was libel or not, as a concrete example, because the writer was accused of libel. So I said that there was libel because it was stated clearly that the personality referred to was the Secretary of the Interior Department. And at the time, everybody would know who was the Secretary of the Interior, of the Department of the Interior. There was no libel, according to our professor, because the name was not written. But I think it was, although it was not written, but it was very clear, If you could establish malice in the writing of negative things about a certain person, then that could be libelous. The material could be libelous. So if in that editorial or column piece there was no malice, because he was a public official, I think you have to establish that in libel you have to establish at least two things. One, very clear the identification of a certain person, and second, there is malice in the writing, in the written document.
In common ways, we can encounter cases of libel in traditional media, including newspapers, magazines, and broadcast news. It can also appear in social networks, academic, and professional settings. To further understand libel, here is a situational example. A small-town newspaper office with a few journalists working at their desks. The editor, Yuno, is reviewing an article with the reporter, Hein.
Yes, ma'am. I'm very sorry, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Hey,
Yes, ma'am.
this article you've written about the local restaurant serving expired food is very concerning. Did you verify this information?
Yes, ma'am. I spoke with a few people who mentioned it. I thought it was important to inform the community.
But did you verify this information? Because we can't publish such damaging claims without any solid evidence.
I didn't think it was necessary, but the sources seems reliable.
Regardless, we have our responsibility to ensure the accuracy of our reporting. If this information is false, this could lead to some serious consequences for the restaurant. You should know that.
Okay, ma'am.
Yuna, your articles have devastated my business. And we've already lost customers and are facing financial problems because of these false claims.
I'm truly sorry, Mrs. Hong. It was an oversight on our part. And we should have verified this information more thoroughly. But I promise you, we will issue a retraction and apology in our next issue. I'm very sorry, Mrs. Hong.
The newspaper issues a retraction and apology.
But the damage to the restaurant's reputation has already been done. Ms. Hong, together with the owners devastated by the impact of misinformation, considers legal action against the newspaper for libel. As a consequence of the false article, the restaurant's reputation plummets, leading to a sharp decline in customers and significant financial losses. The incident serves as a cautionary tale about the importance of responsible journalism and the potential legal implications and ramifications of publishing false and damaging information. Libel and slander are often used interchangeably, but they actually have different meanings. The question is, can people distinguish the difference between these two terms?
Yes po. Parang massacre siguro po.
Maling information towards others po ganun.
Slander about sa pagnanakaw ba yan?
Slander ay naririnig lang natin verbally.
What is slander? Slander is only one of the two ways to defame a person's character. Slander, specifically, is a spoken type of defamatory statement, which is aimed at damaging the reputation of a particular person. Slanderous statements that are both false and made with malicious intent can be subject to legal action. Here is an example of slander.
A case involving political slander is being heard in a lower courtroom. The plaintiff, Somen, is accusing Jiwon, a supporter of an opposing candidate, of spreading false and damaging information about her during her campaign.
This court is now in session for the case of Ms. Somen versus Ms. Jiwon. Ms. Somen, please present your case.
Your Honor, I stand before you to seek justice for the slanderous statement made against me by Ms. Jiwon. She spread false rumors about me during my political campaign, damaging my reputation and credibility.
What evidence do you have to support these claims, Ms. Somen?
Your Honor, I have witness testimonies and documented evidences proving that Ms. Jiwon spread false information about me. These statements have caused detrimental impact on my public image and campaign.
Your Honor, I admit that I may have spoken without proper verification. However, I did not intend to harm Mrs. Somen's reputation. It was a mistake, and I deeply regret it.
Regardless of intent, spreading false and damaging information is a serious offense. After reviewing the evidence presented, this court finds in favor of the plaintiff, Ms. Somen. Ms. Jiwon, you are hereby reprimanded for slander and ordered to issue a public apology to Ms. Somen. Additionally, you are required to pay damages to Ms. Somen for the harm caused to his reputation and campaign.
The repercussions of Jiwon's slanderous behavior were significant. Despite her claim of not intending to harm Somen's reputation, the court found her guilty of spreading false information. This case served as a clear example of the legal consequence of spreading false and damaging information against others. It also underscored the importance of honesty and integrity in public discourse. Jiwon's actions not only harmed Somen, but also tarnished her own reputation and credibility, serving as an exemplary tale for others. Slander and libel both fall under defamation of character. The most significant difference is how it is presented. Slander pertains to spoken and defamatory remarks, whether communicated face-to-face, over the phone, via voicemail, or broadcasted. On the other hand, libelous defamatory statements are expressed in written form, such as in print or through symbols or art.
Kung meron po kayong mensahe sa mga gumagawa ng libel, naninirang puri po sa pamamagitan ng pagsulat at sa mga biktima po nito, ano po yung mensahe?
Sa mga tao na mahilig magagawa ng mga paninira, kailangan bago nila ito gawin, isipin muna na ito pala yung makakasira sa kapwa.
It needs to stop. Kasi wala naman siyang patutunguhan and nakakasira lang siya ng image ng isang tao.
Sa mga mababasa natin, maging critical tayo lagi. Maging critical tayo, huwag tayo basta maniniwala, huwag tayo basta makikibandwagon. She'll never hesitate na to take action against it.
Para sa mga biktima, palagi nyo lang tatandaan na hindi kayo nag-iisa. Nandyan ang inyong mga pamilya, mga kaibigan, na bukod sa sarili mo, sila din ang nakakakilala sa'yo.
In the Philippine Constitution, we are granted the right to free speech. But you must also understand that there is a thin line between freedom of speech and defamation. Despite the mode of communication, the essential elements of defamation remain the same. Untrue statements made maliciously with intent to harm other people or for personal gain.
Under the Articles 353 to 362 of the Revised Penal Code of the Philippine Law, libel and slander are considered criminal offenses which can result in serious personal and legal consequences like imprisonment and fines.
So as future journalists, it is our duty and responsibility to not only learn and be familiar with these terms, but also understand and take them into heart to better report the truth without constraints nor external interference.